liberal media have outdone themselves. CBS reporter Ed O'Keefe apparently has been living under a rock for 10 years, shocking Caroline Leavitt with this question. Listen.
Where or when does the president believe he's been falsely called racist?
You're kidding, right?
No.
I will pull you plethora of examples. I'm sure there's many people in this room and on network television across the country who have accused him of the same. In fact, I know that because I've seen it with my own eyes.
Finding clips of the libs calling Trump racist? Come on, man. Give our producers a real challenge.
The President of the United States is racist.
He is a thin-skinned racist.
He has been racist.
There has never been a president in American history who's been as so openly racist.
A racist in chief.
The president oftentimes resorts to very bigoted, xenophobic, Islamophobic, racist rhetoric.
But the racist Trump narrative didn't land with everybody. The president getting some love at yesterday's White House Black History Month event. A grandma whose grandson was killed in D.C. set the record straight, praising Trump for cleaning up the city.
I love him. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say about that racist stuff. And don't be looking at me on the news hating on me because I'm standing up for somebody that deserves to be standing up for. Get off the man's back. Let him do his job. He's doing the right thing. Back up off of him. And Grandma said
it. So we have won Black History Month. Kaylee, imagine you getting asked that question. I mean, you know Ed O'Keefe, right? I mean, is he that crazy?
Yeah, I was asked a worse question. And Caroline's right that she has seen this happen because when she was working with me, she saw this happen in the briefing room. Ed O'Keefe, if he was paying any attention, saw this too. When Ryan Lizza looked at me in 2020, when all eyes were focused on COVID, there were a bunch of storylines, and he literally thought a good use of his time was to say to me, does President Trump believe it is a good thing that the South lost the Civil War?
Aww.
I was dumbfounded. I looked up from my briefing book, and I told him what an absurd question that was. It's truly absurd, but the implication there is that President Trump is a racist. That was the implication of the question. And it's not just President Trump that was called this. I mean, was Ed O'Keefe paying attention when Joe Biden decided to come out and call anyone who opposed the Democrats' so-called voting rights legislation, H.R. 1, racist? He said, do you want to be on the side of Dr. King or George Wallace, John Lewis or Bull Connor, Abraham Lincoln or Jefferson Davis? Once again, calling half the nation that wants the SAVE Act and not H.R. 1 racist. For 10 years, they have called Trump some rendition of racist, misogynist, or xenophobe. They did this to Mitt Romney, too. They do this to every Republican. And to act as if this has never transpired, there were receipts. We've played the receipts. Ed O'Keefe is not paying attention or is intentionally misleading his viewers.
Yeah, he's the CBS correspondent. How can he not know that, Dana?
It's because actually, I think a lot of his reporting actually has been fairly fair. He was pretty tough on the Biden administration, so I felt that was kind of a weird question. I don't know where he was going with that. I do think that when you call someone a racist, it's both the worst thing you can say to somebody and the most hurtful. But also, because it's been said so much for so long about every Republican, it's also unfortunately kind of losing its meaning. And you can look past it. You could have grandma come, and that's good. I think it's a good thing to do. And obviously, it's a horrible what happened to her grandson. And there's a lot of grandmas like that out there. So she was speaking for a lot of them. I do think that a lot of the DEI stuff got away from the Democratic Party, and now there's a little bit of paying the price for that. But their ire about President Trump is all name calling. And it's very rarely policy. And what's weird, too, is that let's just say that their big issue right now is ICE. They have the opportunity to go to him and say, okay, look, can we just talk about Dreamers? We messed up. In your first term, you were willing to do it. We walked away. We were wrong. But we want to do it now. Can we do a deal with you? And I would bet that he would say, yeah, let's talk. Let's do something. But they don't really want to do that. It's like the name calling supersedes everything else.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about in the first segment, Greg. It's either F Trump or he's racist. And then when you call him out, they're like, I didn't say that.
And worse, no one really speaks for the real racists, you know, who are basically suffering from stolen valor every day. You have David Duke sitting at home going, they're calling everybody racist after all the work I've done. Nobody even remembers me. And instead, they're calling everybody. They're not really racists. They haven't worked for it. Like, you know, I don't know why he said that. I mean, it's like saying like Joe Biden never tripped or Hunter Biden never had sex with hookers. Everything's on tape. I feel like the media is just lost in the wilderness and they don't even know how to salvage their credibility, so they're not even trying. In the current state, it's just like we just show up. The media is like somehow, they're like undergoing the equivalent of a blackout. You know, when their past embarrassments are pointed out to them, like covering up for Joe Biden or the Russian P tape or whatever, they don't remember it. It's like it's like when I go to you, Dana, do you remember what you did at the restaurant last night? It was very embarrassing, right on the table.
It's not true when you say stuff like that.
I didn't go to a restaurant last night.
Yeah, that's all you say, because I don't remember it. They treat it like a blackout, and they're so used to getting away with stuff that they just do it out of habit. I also don't think they're aware that you have like 200 million people who can grok the crap out of this stuff. Like, it's like that montage we used to go, like producers would have to take time to do it. There's like 10,000 people doing that this morning on Grok. Everyone now is a master debunker.
Master debunker. You bringing that up now? All right, Jessica, defend your party, defend your pathetic people.
First of all, Ed O'Keefe, I don't know how Ed O'Keefe votes. So I don't think that's fair.
He's a Democrat.
Why? Because he asked Caroline Leavitt a question that could be easy.
You think that guy, Ed O'Keefe, is a Trump supporter?
I don't know. He could be impartial because he's a journalist. He could be an
impartial. You go with that line. Come on. Haven't you watched these briefings?
Yes, I have.
They don't sound like Republicans.
Oh, I mean, the new media side certainly sounds like Republicans that are in there.
Is Ed new media? He's about as old as they get.
Just led with, he was actually very hard on the Biden administration.
The Biden people really didn't like him.
Okay, so there you go.
He's like an equal opportunity person.
Yeah.
Okay,
all right.
Yeah, okay, but he wasn't
I'm surprised
like
you didn't go for
He wasn't Ducey.
He's religious, so he must be a Republican. I'm shocked you didn't go for that.
No, you guys believe in God too.
Oh, that's so nice and different from what I feel like you said a couple weeks ago. Obviously, there are a cajillion montages of people accusing Trump of racism. I think a lot of it is very well-founded. We just had a scandal or whatever you want to call it just a few weeks ago with the Obama ape video that he wouldn't apologize for, even though a staffer put it up, but he, quote unquote, didn't do anything wrong. And you know, even Republicans stood up and rebuked that. So we could go through the list of racist things that Donald Trump has said and done throughout his career. It's old news. You want to run elections on policies. People vote on kitchen table issues. His racism, for the people who believe it, is baked into the proverbial cake at this point. Black unemployment is up. His support with Black Americans that he got in the 2024 election is back down to normal levels. So he's got to earn that support back. But he obviously has grandma.
Okay. I didn't really like what you said right there, but we're just going to go. We're going to continue the show.
Okay.
We're just going to let it slide. You said a lot of very offensive things.
Oh, I didn't.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.